Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Victoria Rose. I'm a 25-year-old woman of transgender experience, and part of what I do here on this YouTube channel is make gender-affirming content. From giving advice to reaction videos, there are so many things that we do here on this channel, and today we are diving into a topic that's so important for so many trans individuals, and that is hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, and its role in transition. I myself have been on hormones for well over 10 years now, so I feel like I have a unique perspective on male to female hormones, but today we're going to be providing you with a general knowledge of all kinds of hormone replacement therapy. What it is, how it works, how it affects the body, and I will be providing you with resources to get gender-affirming care. Whether you are just curious or you're considering HRT for yourself, I'm going to break it down into easy to understand terms in this video. This video is made possible by Catch Beauty, one of the few transgender dedicated brands in the beauty industry. Thank you so much to them, and with that, let's get started with understanding hormone replacement therapy. Okay, so starting off easy, what is HRT? HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, is a medical process in which you change the internal chemicals, the hormones, to align with your gender identity. This is one of many steps that people take in transition. So that's what it is, but how does HRT work? As the name suggests, it's all about the hormones, the messengers inside our body. For people like me transitioning from male to female or are just looking to feminize, this process most often includes taking blockers, which are testosterone blockers, which blocks your body from producing testosterone, the male sex hormone, and then supplementing that with an artificial estrogen, often in a pill form or an injection. We'll touch on this more later, but from this process, you can expect softer skin, fat redistribution, and breast growth. On the other hand, transgender men, or people looking to masculinize, people assigned female at birth, often take testosterone to masculinize their features. This can lead to increased muscle mass, facial hair growth, and a much deeper voice. The goal is to create physical changes that match the individual's gender identity. Now let's talk about the role of HRT in transition. For many trans individuals, HRT is a necessary first step in a physical transition. It's important to remember that everybody's journey is different. Not everyone's going to want to be on hormones, not everyone's going to want certain surgeries, and that's perfectly fine. The goal of transition is to alleviate gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is the feeling of misalignment between your gender identity and your physical body. So some people might feel very comfortable with no surgery or no hormones, whereas some people like myself, it was just in the cards. That was never really even an option to me. It was something that I had to do. But that's not the case for everybody. HRT is just one part in a broader process of gender transition. This can also include social changes, legal changes, even potentially surgical changes. A gender transition should be monitored by a professional to ensure your safety. Among many other requirements, most surgeons performing gender-affirming surgeries require that you live full-time as your identified sex or gender for at least a year, and most often this does include hormones. It is a process set up to protect you and to keep you safe. I know for me personally, I had to wait at least a year. I think they suggested at least 2 years on hormones before I got my chest done, as we'll say on YouTube, because I had to wait for all of the development that might happen with that, because maybe I would have been happy without any kind of implant, or maybe they could have grown over the implant because my body wasn't finished transitioning its chemicals. If you are considering HRT, it's important that you know the effects that it has on the body, and it's also important that you know that these changes don't happen overnight. I know oftentimes we just wish that we could wake up one day in a different body, but it's called a transition for a reason. Your healthcare provider will monitor your progress and will adjust your treatment plan as they see fit. Some of the changes you can expect on either side of hormone replacement therapy is changes in skin texture, in hair growth all over the body, in fat distribution, and also in mood. It's important that you keep realistic expectations in your transition and to be patient with yourself. In male to female transition, when taking estrogen and blockers, some of the physical changes you can expect would include chest development, Estrogen leads to chest tissue growth. This will vary based on the women in your family. Redistribution of body fat. Fat starts accumulating in a more feminine pattern, such as hips and thighs. You can also expect softer skin. Skin texture may become smoother and more similar to that of a cisgender woman. Thinning of facial and body hair. Over time, facial and body hair may become lighter and thinner, but don't expect it to disappear completely without laser or electrolysis. Changes in muscle mass. Muscles might decrease in size and become less defined. Change in body odor. Body odor may become milder and more similar to that of a cisgender woman. Subtle changes in facial features. Facial features could become softer due to fat redistribution. Reduction in genital size and functionality. Over time, genital tissue may shrink. Male pattern baldness. Existing hair loss might slow down or even stop. Change in libido. Some individuals may experience decreases in sexual desire, although I personally have experienced and heard the opposite at times. And lastly, emotional changes. Emotional responses may become more in line with those of cisgender women. Many transgender women are overwhelmed with emotion for the first year of their transition. I know myself personally, I was calling up my friend crying over like a commercial or some stupid YouTube video while I was transitioning. That first year was brutal. I was crying at everything. Some of the effects that people transitioning from female to male would expect in hormone replacement therapy will include voice deepening. Lucky trans men, testosterone can lead to vocal cord thickening, which results in a deeper voice. Only testosterone therapy does this. Estrogen does not. Unfortunately, you cannot shrink the vocal cords back down. You can get them thicker and stretch them out. So lucky trans men, that is a permanent solution for you. They can also expect facial and body hair growth. Facial hair may become thicker and denser, and body hair might increase. Trans men can also expect an increase in muscle mass. Testosterone can promote muscle growth and increase muscle mass. Fat redistribution. Fat may start accumulating in a more masculine pattern, such as around the abdomen, and leaving areas like the breast or the hips. Change in body odor. Men stink. Body odor might become stronger and more similar to that of a cisgender man. Menstrual cessation. Menstruation typically stops after a few months of HRT. Changes in genital anatomy. This one is sort of case by case. The external genitalia may undergo some changes, including the growth of the labia and the clitoral hood. The clitoris may grow in size as well due to increased blood flow and tissue growth. Accompanying this, trans men can expect an increased libido. Some individuals may experience an increase in sexual desire. Coming in at number 10 is a thinning of scalp hair. Many trans men lose hair according to their family history. If you don't have any hair loss in your family, you're fine. Acne and skin changes. Your skin might get more oily and more prone to acne, similar to cisgender men. Lastly, we can't forget the emotional changes. Emotional responses may shift and become more in line with those of cisgender men. While I have seen transgender women get very sad and emotional over things, I have seen transgender men get maybe a little unnecessarily angry over things. I think it goes sort of one to the other sort of pendulum, you know? As you can see, hormone replacement therapy has many effects on the mind and the body, many of which are irreversible. This is a real decision that you have to contact real doctors for. I really want to emphasize that you need to have medical guidance alongside your transition. For many years, trans people have been self-medicating, have been going to back alley surgeons or injectors, and it's sort of just been a part of our history, but we don't have to do that anymore. It is not safe to self-medicate. Your health and your safety are top priority. It's very important that you find a doctor, resources, a community, maybe an LGBT center where you can find things around you to locate gender-affirming care. In this social climate, that is not always accessible to people. That is why I want to introduce you to a wonderful resource, Plume. Plume offers gender-affirming care through the internet with tailored treatments for transgender and non-binary individuals. They provide a safe and supportive environment where you can receive expert guidance from qualified healthcare professionals. As a matter of fact, not long ago, I actually hosted a webinar about feminizing makeup. It was so fun. I hope I get invited back because that was very fun. With Plume, you'll have access to medical experts who understand the unique needs of trans and non-binary folk. They will help guide you through your transition to keep you safe and on the right track. Remember, your journey is important and you deserve the right support. So if you're considering HRT, if you have any questions about your gender transition or looking for a community, make sure you check out Plume. Thank you all so much for joining me today as we discussed hormone replacement therapy and its role in gender transition. Remember that your health and your safety are your top priority. I myself am so thankful that we live in a time where we have access to this care at home. I just said it before, but we have a long history of getting things like back alley or self-medicating, and we don't need to do that anymore. We are so lucky that it is quite literally at our fingertips. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm just a trans woman. So if you are interested, make sure you seek out the proper guidance. If you found this information to be helpful, if you have a friend maybe that wants to know more about hormone replacement therapy, if you have a relative that is curious about the whole process, make sure that you share this video with them so that they can understand the process and know what you might be going through. You are all amazing. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and until I see you next week, good luck. I love you.